everyone, welcome to 2025 and the Ferrari Challenge North America. We're here with our lavish Casa Ferrari behind us after the winter break. It's just great for everyone to be back together again, really enjoying the camaraderie there is whenever it is associated with a Ferrari Challenge weekend. And here in 2025, we've got packed grids of cars across Trofeo, Pirelli, Pirelli Am, Copa Shell and Copa Shell Am, with returning drivers, champions returning, and some new faces as well. And that's not all. We have new voices. Andrew Coley alongside me. Welcome to the challenge.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, absolutely fantastic to be here. Incredible atmosphere. I think everyone is dying to get back out on track. Beautiful weather, but this place is really challenging for a first weekend. There's a lot of crests, a lot of blind corners. The drivers are saying after the winter, it's a bit like feeling that they're on fast forward, but I'm sure they get there. A couple of days of testing. It's going to be very close at the front of each of the classes.
Very much looking forward to it. And this is exactly where we are.
It's Sonoma Raceway that opens the 2025 calendar for the Ferrari Challenge. And joining us here today are firefighters from the Shell Vista Fire Protection District, the Sonoma Valley Fire District, and the Cal Fire Sonoma Lake Napa Unit. These dedicated firefighters proudly serve not only right here in the Shell Vista area and Sonoma Valley, but beyond, across California. Some were deployed to fight the recent devastating wildfires in the Los Angeles area. Many have fought through the toughest of wildfires here in the North Bay, such as the Tubbs, Nuns, Glass and Lightning Complex fires. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us for a round of applause in appreciation for those who serve to help protect us and our communities. And now, the CAL FIRE Local 2881 Honor Guard will present the flags for the National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you all please rise, if you are able, and direct your attention to turn 11. And please welcome Erin Carrere, who will sing the Italian and American national anthem.
Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia si desta, dell'elmo di Scipio si cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiama di Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia si desta, dell'elmo di Scipio si cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma, che schiava di Roma e Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì! Oh, say, can you see by and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
My goodness me, what a performance. Ferrari Challenge North America. They do everything properly. Absolutely rousing performance there. And thanks to everyone involved in that. Absolutely. What a start to our race day here at Sonoma Raceway. The Ferrari Challenge North America first race about a few moments away from getting underway, and what a start to it, my goodness me. So it's the first round of our calendar for 2025 for the Ferrari Challenge North America, and this is where we will be going during the course of the season this year. From here we head off to Daytona International Speedway, then absolutely exclusively to the Miami Autodrome. Then it's Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen International, then Laguna Seca, and of course the finale mondiale, the final event, round 7, will be held in Mugello in Italy towards the end of October. A lot of racing to be done before then as we take a look right now at the Sonoma Raceway, making its way through the topography of the Napa Valley here in California. 2.52 miles, that's 4.056 kilometers. It's a 12-turn raceway, 6 left and 6 right-hand turns. Turns 2 and 3, negative camber, off camber. The inside of the turn is higher than the outside. So it's a testing track for all of our drivers, and we have packed grids across everything, as you may have heard me say earlier on in our program. And there we can see the closing of the preparations that we had to start our race day here in Sonoma. And it's gorgeous here at the moment in California. The sun is shining. Conditions absolutely perfect for our drivers. Track temperature is 25 degrees. The air temperature 18 degrees. And there's about 13 kilometers per hour of wind just fluttering away just to add a little cooling breeze. So that's the way the weather looks at the moment. And there you can see that's just behind the turn 11 that you're looking at. There is the fantastic Casa Ferrari hospitality, lavish and gorgeous here in the Sonoma Raceway. So Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am are the cars that you're going to be seeing out on track for their race one. The Pirelli drivers with the red strip across the top of the windscreen, the Pirelli Am drivers with the white strip across the top of the windscreen. And there, just a little bit of the beauty that surrounds this extraordinary circuit. And alongside me then, I mentioned earlier, not only new racers and new drivers, but new voices as well, because welcome to the Ferrari Challenge. It's my delight to welcome my friend Andrew Coley into the booth. Hello.
Dave, thank you so much. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant to be here. Wonderful circuit to start this season. That qualifying was exciting earlier, but I'm really stoked to get the racing underway. Temperatures have come up, 64 Fahrenheit now. You can see we've got the silver foil outlook over the front of the cars. Everybody's getting into full business mode now, aren't we? So 30-minute race coming up, and I can't wait to see who's got what it takes to stand on the top step of the podium. Brilliant performance, wasn't it, by Perina during qualifying to beat last year's champion Medler to the pole. I'm keen to see what happens in turn 1.
Going to be exciting. Massimo Perina, you're right. He put it on pole for Pirelli drivers. Eric Pan putting it on pole in class for the Pirelli Am drivers. 2 classes together, as I mentioned, Pirelli Am and Pirelli drivers. And let's enjoy this right now. Now, I mentioned earlier on Andrew Coley. When Ferrari do things,
they do it properly.
Well.
I must admit, we were still in hospitality, weren't we, as the air show started? Oh, there's some jets over there. It's like, oh, 6 of them, all for us. And it was absolutely spectacular. As you can see, big heart in the sky in blue and Ferrari red, of course. And just stunning display. Brilliant.
I'm in admiration because, and I was thinking about this. How do you practice this? How do you? Do you know what I mean? These guys are so skilled; it's beyond belief.
Yeah, it really is. It's the accuracy, isn't it? And it's 3-dimensional. Yeah, cars are always spectacular. We love motor racing, as I'm sure everybody at home knows. But look at that. Look at it. The distances between the jets. Yeah, incredible stuff. Very impressive.
Very much so. Very much so. And pinpoint accurate as well. And you have to be.
Yeah, you can't make mistakes, can you? Not in those.
Wow. And that kicked off race day 1, if you like, here at Sonoma. And what a way to start. There you can see the cars all lining up then, just getting ready to get into racing. Obviously a bit of clear up to be done from everything else that happened. So we're looking very much forward to the prospect of 2025 being a phenomenal season. 2024 will go down as being a brilliant one as well. Let's remind ourselves of what happened in 2024. There were just so many highlights in 2024, and I always come into a season thinking it cannot be better than the season before, and then, because this is Ferrari, it always jolly well is, and 2025 is going to be something magnificent too, I don't doubt. But they're just some of the recollections of 2024, some fantastic images, so proud to have been part of that last year. You can see the driver coaches down there ensuring that their drivers are into their cars and are comfortable, and Marco Bononomi there just talking to Ray Acosta and getting Ray into the car. There's the Tony Davis car that you can see, and of course Tony, he'll be hoping to do good today, as every driver will. Right, Nina Jade Paul has been asking some taxing questions of our drivers.
Hello, my name is Nina Jade Paul. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with Ferrari Challenge for the first time this year, and I'm sure the season opener at the beautiful Sonoma Raceway will not disappoint. As I'm the new kid on the block, I think I ought to go and get to know a few of our drivers. Which driver has the best livery?
And that's part of the fun of this Ferrari challenge, is actually designing your wrap and so forth. But, well, I'm partial. I gotta like mine the best.
Mine, absolutely. You know, I love my livery, and it takes on sort of this AI dimension.
I would say mine. Love going freaky fast with Jimmy John's.
Chuck Whitall has a very interesting livery. I like that. It's very vibrant, so it sticks out.
I'm currently standing outside of Casa Ferrari, and as you can see, it's absolutely stunning. Drivers and their friends and family love spending time here, which poses the question, which driver brings the most entourage to hospitality?
Jan Bernier, he has the entourage, very famous.
Ferrari of Seattle, they have a lot of people, they have a lot of drivers.
Which driver is the fastest to a drink after the race?
Brian Cook. He directly looks at the champagne the second he gets out of the car.
Ray Acosta, that's a for sure one too.
It might have to be Dave Musial, he's a pretty fun character.
Which driver has the best podium champagne celebration?
Maybe Eric Marston, I don't know.
Someone actually said you earlier.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay, then me.
But Michael Petramalo, if you're familiar with Lando Norris's Champagne Slam, he's the best at it.
Which driver is the most stylish?
Jason McCarthy. He has some good style, I will admit that.
Me? Come on.
Obviously.
Well, I have to say Brian Cook. He definitely brings his own Australian style to the grid.
Would you rather race in the wet or in the dry?
The wet, car gets a little bit loose, you got to trust your hands. I always think I got the advantage.
To have the best chance, probably the wet, but the dry is what we really like, because that's really racing.
I love racing in the rain. I love getting the car sideways, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Would you rather race from the front or fight from the back?
Oh, I'd rather be out in front and holding everyone behind me, that's for sure.
Always want to start from the front. Always makes life a little bit easier.
Oh, what a lovely bunch of drivers we have. And I must say, I'm right in the thick of it, basking in the Californian sunshine at the moment. Andrew and Dave, I bet you're very jealous of me because I got some sunshine on my face. But here we are. I mean, I'm still very much buzzing from qualifying this morning. There were some prizes, a bit of drama. We had 2 red flags. So we're expecting much of the same for the races this afternoon. The drivers are very much raring to go, as am I, Dave and Andrew.
And yes, there were elements of qualifying that I'd like to see repeated in the race. There were elements that I would sooner not see in the race. We're hoping that we can go the full 30 minutes from green flag to checker without a stop. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? But of course, it's first day back at school, isn't it?
It's a tricky old place, that's the thing, and you've got to remember this is actually the first time, although the cars have been on track a lot together, this is the first time we're racing for position.
Yes.
Although earlier on, I think it was the shell category, wasn't it, copper shell, where on the outlap there was some jostling to be the first car on track. They were all desperate to have a clear track, and that was partly because we did have those 2 red flags in the 2 different copper shell categories. 2 spins, same place for both. Turn 3A, it's the right-handed crest on the run down to the first, the tight right-handers. It's at the end of that really crucial first sector, which is a proper roller coaster. Cold tyres, easy mistake to make, and obviously these guys have got to get those tyres up to temperature, but this time in a big pack of rolling cars.
Absolutely, and what you were saying there really reinforces the fact that track position is everything here at Sonoma Raceway. So if you get the opportunity, or you can sniff an opportunity to get further up the order in the early stages of the race, you're going to go for it, aren't you? Because it's going to be easier then, potentially, but it could go horribly wrong as well. So it's that risk-reward strategy that some of these drivers are used to taking, Andrew.
Yeah, I think the front guys are so evenly matched. I mean, we were seeing hundredths in between them in terms of their lap times, and they've all said it is a tricky place to overtake. It's one of those tracks that all the drivers like because it presents such a unique challenge of the commitment, and you'll see it from the front runners again on the exit of that turn 3A. You'll see them sideways over the crest where they're committing to the throttle early. You'll see the same again as they come out of the run down to turn 7. There's just a few brilliant spots on this track, but in terms of overtaking, because they're so closely matched, unless the guy in front makes a mistake, it's going to be hard for them. Further down the pack, I expect to see a bit more action where there's traffic and you maybe think you're being held up, and we could see 3-4 cars wide and some serious moves, especially on these opening laps.
Yes, and exactly where we are right now is where one of the few overtaking places, if you like, here at the Sonoma Raceway. This is turn 11, so expect to see some action there. And you're absolutely right. What you need to do is try and provoke a mistake from the driver in front of you. And Manny Franco, who will be going from P3 on the grid, will be hoping to perhaps get a mistake out of Dylan Medler or Massimo Perena. Good luck with that, friend. That's all I'm prepared to say. But it was a very tight run. And I have to say a big shout out to Ethan McWilliams. Look, going from P4 in his first Ferrari Challenge race proper, he's come up through the Club Challenge, so that's a qualifying to be proud of. And so too for Johnny Kaminsky and also Luke French. So these drivers, you know, they come into this, but they've trained really hard, and the experience they've gained through Club Challenge or through whatever. And of course, as you mentioned, there have been sessions of practice during the build-up to this race weekend. It's obviously served them well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, plenty of laps here. I do think actually it'll be really interesting to see what the form is like when we go to the next track and they don't have 10 practice sessions in the week running up to it. See who hits the ground running that little bit quicker, and particularly with dirty track conditions. But we've got perfect track conditions. The sun is high in the sky in California. Yeah, we're good to go. We're hoping for some good, fast, clean racing.
This is really good to see. This is Martin Burrows, who had an off in qualifying. And it's great to see that the team of Ferrari of Quebec have worked hard and got Martin Burrows out there on track. Really good to see. Martin's like everyone in the Ferrari Challenge, a really good guy. As we're talking about Martin Burrows, tell you what, magic of television. Let's have a look at an onboard lap with Martin Burrows at the wheel.
Hello, my name is Martin Burrows. I'm driving for Ferrari of Quebec, car number 46. I'm going to take you out for a lap at Sonoma Raceway. Here we are at turn 1 at Sonoma, entering turn 1 I mean. A lot of speed here. This is the place you can gain the most lap time. Turn 2 off camber, pretty light, the car's pretty light here. 4th gear. Turn 3, keep the inside. 3A, very light again. Turn 4 hard brake, 3rd gear. Everything on the speed bump. The kink is very fast. Almost flat out here. Progressive braking in the middle of the track. Try to stay inside. It's a bit camber. Full throttle here. 5th gear, 6th gear. Down to 3rd gear, keep some speed here. A bit large, keep some speed. Go tight, flat out. 4th, 5th. Try to stay flat, but it's not easy. Flat here. Middle of the track. Go on the left on the speed bump. Turn 11 is one of the fastest. Hard braking on the 2nd bump, not the 1st one, the 2nd one. We'll brush the wall. And that was a lap at Sonoma Raceway.
Thank you very much to Martin Burrows. Then, as we look at the number 13 car of Affair Levy, the Ferrari of Silicon Valley driver. Now, he's a Pirelli AM driver. Now, just so you're able to ascertain and identify which car is in which class, the strips across the top of the windscreen, as we can see on Affair's car, is white. That means he's a Pirelli AM driver. Now, if you see a car with a red strip across the top of the windscreen, that means that they are a Pirelli driver. So, 2 classes in the same race, Pirelli and Pirelli AM. Here you can see one Pirelli car and then an AM car as they climb up the hill here. The undulation of this Sonoma Raceway has to be really seen to be believed. Eric Marston there in the number 26 car, who, of course, won the Cope Shell Championship last year here in North America, and gets elevated, therefore, into Trofeo Pirelli AM for this year. Very tidy racer is Eric Marston. The cars are on their what's called a recon lap, and they'll be using this, presumably, Andrew, to just see how the track feels. I mean, it's not changed, I wouldn't have thought, apart from track temperature from qualifying earlier on, but just get their eye in.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, you're on the set of tyres you used earlier on. As you say, temperatures have come up by, not by a huge amount, to be fair, about 10 Fahrenheit in terms of air temperature, but I would say, Dave, standing out there, it's t-shirt weather now, and this morning it wasn't, so there is a difference, or there will be a difference to that track temperature, definitely. They say recce lap, figure out where you're going. I'm really keen to see what happens with Burrows being at the back of the grid. You know, bearing in mind he is a Trofeo Pirelli driver, he's going to be behind all the Pro-Am drivers. He's someone we should be looking through to try and side through that grid, having had the problem in quali. Got a lot of work to do to come through from there, but that'll be fun for us to watch. And I'm really, Massimo Perina, you know, 488 Evo last year, did a brilliant job there. His dad said, you've got to do your studying, otherwise you're not going racing. Aced his studying, and then Dad had to get him into the 296, didn't he? So, but to stick it on pole as he has done is incredible.
Yeah, just to go back to what you were saying about Martin Burrows.
Yes.
I mean, Martin can win races and does win races. And the thing is, with some racing drivers, I'm sure you'll agree with with all of your experience as well, Andrew, just sometimes racing drivers perform better when the odds are against them, when they've had a kick up the bottom and they're starting not where they feel they should be starting from.
So what I thought was really interesting was when Nina Jade was asking the drivers, and they all said, I want to be leading out front. Now, I understand that, particularly at a place like this where you can't overtake much, but I'll tell you right now, it's way harder to lead and be chased and keep watching your mirrors and keep trying to keep the door shut than it is to chase somebody down. The problem is chasing down is fun, getting past is hard.
Yes.
So I think Martin has got to absolutely make hay at the start of this race and just try and blast his way past as many people as he can.
Well, you can see the tyre temperatures being looked at the Manny Franco car at the moment. That's the car that we're zooming in on right now and seeing the Conquest team working on that number 18 car. So the drivers have had their reconnaissance lap, and well, here they come into the pit lane, the Remainer, and Andrew.
Yeah, just looking at Martin Burrows, looks like he's on row 7 of the grid. So did he set at the half-decent lap time before he had his issue? I thought he had the issue fairly. We only saw him parked in the link road at the side of the circuit.
Yeah, so he'd done
So it looks like he managed to get one lap in. So he is at the back of the Trofeo Pirelli drivers, but he is in front of the pole man Eric Pan from Pro-Am. So that's a better place for him to be. And he's also on the inside. So it's rolling start, isn't it, Dave, from Ferrari Challenge?
Always in the Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think about the first few turns. You've got a double left, but you have, if you can go around the outside of that double left.
You've got to be brave.
Oh, you have got to be brave, especially, yeah, but it puts you in a brilliant position to dive up the inside for the right-hander. Yeah. I'm keen to see who's brave enough to do that. Obviously, front row, you know, with Medler, last year's champion, on the outside of Perina. That could be a fantastic battle.
Well, certainly Dylan is not going to be prepared to give anything like a centimetre of tarmac, nor is Massimo Perina, who we're looking at right now, the Ferrari of Seattle driver. I spoke to him at lunch, and as Nina Jade found out from it, he wasn't even aware he'd taken pole position when he'd done it, because there was a problem with his timing inside the car. He thought he was P2, so it was a pleasant surprise for him to find that he'd done P1. To the left-hand side of the screen, just standing up there, you can see Lucio Vigani, who is in charge of Pirelli for Ferrari Challenge around the world. He's a much-travelled chap, and you can see how seriously Pirelli take it. They look at absolutely everything.
Yeah, and of course, don't forget, it's mandated that they can only use one set of tyres today, and so they'll make sure that all the drivers are out on the correct set of tyres, which are the ones they used earlier on today in qualifying. And the other thing I think is important is you see the team members out there now. So this is referred to as often referred to as a truck wrench, because it's a huge torque wrench, not the sort of thing you use, you know, on your bicycle or on your road car, but the sort of torques you're getting up to, which is why it's got such a huge great lever on it. Single wheel nut in the middle to allow you to take the wheels off very quickly. The cars have got air jacks as well, so you can fire them up in the air. Unfortunately, because there are no pit stops, if you're coming into the pits to do anything like that, you're in trouble. But this is the key thing. We spoke about it lots during qualifying. Tyre pressure is crucial. They've gone out on that warm-up lap. Now they get them reset back to where they want. And you don't want them to get over hot. So they've got to come down low enough that as the temperature comes up, the tyre pressure comes up too. And the teams will know exactly what they're up to with that. Depends on the corners on the circuit, the track temperature, how quickly the driver leans on the front or the rear of the car. I love it. It's fascinating.
And Andrew, this is quite an abrasive track, isn't it? It's quite hard on the tyres.
Yeah, we did say earlier on, I met a good friend last night who used to live in the Sonoma area and worked at this track as a track instructor, and he said that he described the two corners as real tyre grinders, being the carousel in the middle, which is the very, very long left-hander, and then right at the end, turn 11, that second overtaking opportunity, which is the long hairpin past Casa Ferrari right down before the start-finish line. So carousel is a much longer, much faster corner. It's fourth gear, whereas it's more like second gear up at the hairpin at 11. But either way, yeah, using your fronts particularly a lot, and then obviously on the exit, your rears a bit more when you're getting on the gas.
Okay, we're taking a look at the number 3 car, Brian Cook there. Brian Cook driving, of course, in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli this year. He won the Pirelli AM Championship last year. It was a compelling battle with himself and Tony Davis, and Tony is right behind him on the grid as well. And Tony will be hoping for a better year this year than last year. I mean, Tony finished second in the Drivers' Championship, which is no mean feat, I can tell you. But, of course, you want to be a winner. And who will be the winner today in Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM? Well, we need a race to find out. Let's go back to Nina Jade Paul.
Hello, thank you very much. I am here with the lovely Matteo Torre, who is the president of Ferrari North America. Matteo, would you mind doing the honors of saying the famous words?
I will. Drivers, start your Ferrari engines.
Lovely, thank you.
Matteo Torre, then the head honcho of Ferrari North America, doing a very good job as every driver fires up their 296, their 3-litre twin-turbo V6 with so many horses that it's scary. And we are about to get this race underway. It's a short, sharp race, Andrew. 30 minutes for every driver to do the very, very best they can. Track position, we've already said so many times, critical here, but that is not going to stop people who feel that they have half an opportunity to get past the car in front of them. They're going to go for it. You can bet your bottom dollar.
They certainly are. Start's going to be absolutely crucial. One more lap around to get things up to temperature. Bear in mind, obviously, we were looking at flying laps earlier during qualifying, so I still expect the tyres to be somewhat under temperature as they go racing. When we go green, and the drivers, remember, have to stay level with each other in their grid positions until they cross the start-finish line. At that point, it's full go down towards turn 1.
And we've seen drivers penalised for being out of position.
Absolutely.
So absolutely, you're right. That's the case. Andrew, with your racing experience, when do you expect those tyres to get up to temperature? What is going to be the optimum lap for them in the race? Will it be different to qualifying?
I think potentially it will, because in qualifying they were free to do what they wanted. You know, you could weave, you can heat the tyres up with your brakes and do various different things to get things up to temperature. At that point, optimum lap was lap 3. Now, okay, we've had one warm-up lap, another one now, so in theory lap 3 is lap 1, but I think lap 1's too early. So I think we're looking at more like lap 2 or 3 of the race, so the 5th lap on these tyres.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, stand by. The first race of our 2025 season is about to get underway. We'll bring you the grid in full, both in voice and in graphics, as we can see the cars leaving the pit lane and making their way out onto the hallowed tarmac of the Sonoma Raceway. Climbing uphill, and you can see here that it really does wind its way through this Napa Valley region. It's an extraordinary place.
That's the first place where I'm expecting to see action, whether it's anybody in the outside row, the outside line. Medler, for instance, can hold on and be on the inside into turn 3 at the top of the hill.
Dylan Medler going from P2, Massimo Perina going from P1. On row 2, it's Manny Franco and Ethan McWilliams, I beg your pardon, alongside. Then it's Johnny Kaminsky, great qualifying, and Luke French. They go from the next 2 positions, P5 and P6. David Musial Jr., P7, Roberto Perina is P8. And then we go to the next row of the grid, where it's Jason McCarthy, never bet against Jason McCarthy, and Brian Cook. They go from P9 and P10 to row 6, where we find Gray Falver and Tony Davis. Then they are P11 and P12. Martin Burrows goes from P13 on the grid. Eric Pan, then the best of the Pirelli AM drivers. It's P14, but P1 in class. Brad Falver, Ofer Levy, they are P15 and P16, completing row 8 of the Trofeo Pirelli AM grid. Sebastian Mascaro, Michael Mathis then go from P17 and 18, and they are ahead of the row 10 runners. Ray Acosta, arguably out of position, Michael Porter alongside. We will see what they are able to do from the 10th row. Harry Cheong and Eric Marston. Eric, another driver, perhaps arguably out of position. David Musial and Jay Logan are P23 and P24. Then it's Dan Magnuszewski and Gregory Hopkins. They go from row 13, it's 25 and 26, ahead of Frank Szczesniak and Gerdas Venslovas. Welcome to the 296, Gerdas. And then it is Robert McWilliams and John Horsch, P29 and P32 families then, with fathers and sons in the racing today. Of course, we've got the Ethan McWilliams and Robert McWilliams, as off goes Brian Cook, then a champion from Copa Shell up to Trofeo Pirelli Am this year, and he's off. So, as I was saying, 2 father and son combos with the Musials, and of course the McWilliamses as well. That's bad news for Brian Cook, but rubbing his hands with invisible soap will be Tony Davis.
Yeah, and also Jason McCarthy would have shared that row with him, so he doesn't have the threat of Cook around the outside. Cook was P10. Across the top 10, less than a second in between it as we see the safety car come into the pits, and less than 3.2 seconds from the front to the back of this pack grid.
Here we go then. First racing action of 2025. It's Perina versus Medler on this opening lap. Both young drivers. Medler, of course, current champion. Perina champion in the 488 Challenge, and let's go racing. Either Dylan was caught napping there, or now I'm wondering whether race control will take a look at that.
Well, they're on a slow, aren't they? They've gone over the start-finish line, definitely on a go slow, so something has happened. You thought he went early?
I think he went early, but you only go when you've seen the green flag.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same as you. Has someone been caught napping here, or is it a brilliant tactical drive?
No, you see.
Instead, it's looking like another runaround lap, another warm-up lap.
So
safety car's back out, okay.
Safety car is back out. Now, we're assuming it's for that. It could be for another reason that we're unaware of, but we take what we know, and that is that they looked out of position in that Massimo had got going, and whether he saw the green before Dylan or not, don't know. But there we are. We're going to go do it all over again. It's maximum value for you. You know, we give you another
start.
And of course, what it does, the drivers, allows them to weave from side to side, as you can see, and try and generate some additional temperature into the tyres, which is what Manny Franco is doing right now. So there we get another lap. I just wonder whether wherever Brian Cook came off, I think he got the car to safety, so I don't think that would have been a reason for another rolling lap, but maybe. So it's That's why then, being told by my producer Amanda, who is fantastic, that there was a yellow flag out. There you can see it, the yellow flag. Did you see it to the right-hand side of the screen? There it is. And that's why. And you can see Massimo reacts almost immediately, doesn't he? He takes his foot off.
Yeah, he was off the gas before he'd even reached the start-finish line. So, I thought he'd just been clever and gone right at the apex of the corner where he's got the advantage of being further inside, giving the guy a little bit more distance to go around the outside. But it was before the line. But as long as they cross the line in order, I think he's entitled to go when he wants to after the safety car's gone in. And that's a great shot of that double right-hander at the end there.
Yeah. Oh, isn't it just?
Makes you realise that why some of the drivers have been struggling with it.
Yeah.
The first element is the point at which you can possibly overtake turn 7 on the way in, then 7A on the way out. Long way around. Some of this circuit's been resurfaced.
It's not quite a double apex, but it's quite close together.
It's like 290 rights, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the second one's a bit tighter than the first, followed by a long straight up towards the S's. There is the chopper.
Yeah, Robbie's piloting that. I've got no idea. I just saw it. It sounds like I knew what I was talking about, but yeah, helicopter here. Giving us some great shots as well. Brilliant production that we were able to bring you with the Ferrari Challenge here in North America, and we're giving you an additional rolling lap because of the yellow flag that was out right at the end of the start-finish straight. So, Massimo Perina, Dylan Medler, got to do it all over again, and champing at the bit is Manny Franco. You can see that Manny Franco from P3 is very, very determined to get going. So too Ethan McWilliams and Johnny Kaminsky. This is going to be build myself up for the excitement all over again, Andrew. I don't know, I've got two in me because
I'm sure you have,
race starts are so exciting. Right, this is where we begin to get serious because the cars are approaching the final turn, then turn 11. This is what I have called the stadium section because it's right in front of Casa Ferrari where you can see all the way around that turn. You look at Manny Franco, he's virtually buried into the back of Massimo Perina already. Dylan Medler then on the inside there, but that gives him the outside for the next turn. And Massimo Perina should have the advantage here. They have to wait till the green flag before they can get going. They are all bunched up. Massimo Perina then with a perfect start. Manny Franco will try and get the better of Dylan Medler, and has he been able to do it? Sneaks inside as they make the run uphill. They're side by side. You've got to have big spherical things to do this, and I have to say, I think Manny Franco might have done it here. up into P2. Dylan Medler relegated to P3 as Massimo Perina leads.
That was a fantastic pass, it really was. I thought he was going to be able to hold him off. Medler had the inside line up into the right-hander, but he kept it lit around the outside line, ran the car all the way out to the curbs and held on for the next one. So it's a good move early in the race. In the background, over the
well
dirt on the
held.
outside line, just held on to that. With the pack coming as well, that would have been a disaster.
Absolutely it would, and these opening stages, the opening few turns, it's where things can go wrong, and it's of course where you can make up brilliant places as well. Levy looking very, very lively as well as some dust is being kicked up. You can see Tony Davis in the picture there, and there's a real fight going on for the lead in the Trofeo Pirelli AMS. So exciting stuff in the Ferrari Challenge North America, Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM race 1 of the weekend here, the opening round of our 2025 season. Of course, Tony Davis very much a leading light in Pirelli AM drivers, and well, moved up into Pirelli by dint of his P2 in the championship last year, and he hasn't got his arch nemesis, Brian Cook, because Brian Cook pulled out right at the start of this race, in fact on the rolling lap. So here they go into the turn. Leading is the number 66 car of Brad Falver then, and ironically Brad is one of those drivers that I'd said to you, Andrew, is one very much worth watching. He's still a very, very competitive driver. And so the order is Perina leading in Pirelli's, Brad Falver, Eric Pan, Levy for the AM drivers. It's Perina ahead of Franco and Dylan Medler, and then it is Ethan McWilliams.
0.6 is the gap between Perina and Franco at the end of the first lap. Medler, look, he's further 0.2 of a second back. And you can see he's right there. Dust flies up as they run out towards the curbs. That's where we saw the moment just a few moments ago on the previous lap. And where the cars run wide, they've pulled dirt out onto the curb there. So these guys will see that for the first time. Runs a bit wide through Carousel. Can Medler get a better exit here on the run down to turn 7?
Well, as we see it from the helicopter, you can see now Massimo Perina's modus operandi in the 488 Challenge Evo last year was get the start done and then build as big a gap as I possibly can. He's doing it now in Trofeo Pirelli in the 296 as well. Exactly the same. He's nailing every apex as around. Has gone the number 97 car of Gray Falver. So we were just extolling the virtues of Brad Falver, who of course is leading for Ferrari of San Francisco in Pirelli AMS. Gray Falver, who I think was P10, found himself turned around, and now he's got to do a lot of work to get back into the pack.
That was on the exit of Carousel, Dave, so it's really important to come out of that corner, run the car all the way out to the curb and carry the speed down to turn 7, either to get a good lap time or try and close the gap on the car in front, or to try and hold on to your position. Looks like maybe, we haven't seen it, but maybe he's dropped the rear right onto the dirt and had a big fast spin, so he's done well to get away with it there. It's not well held in terms of hanging on to it, but well held in terms of not fully putting it off the track and into the wall at that speed.
Yes, very good point, and credit where credit is due. Martin Burrows is up to P9. He's got Roberto Perina ahead of him, Jason McCarthy and Tony Davis behind him right now. So Martin Burrows, remember what I was saying about a bit between your teeth when you feel you've been wrong from qualifying? There's no wrong in with Massimo Perina, who sets the fastest lap for the Pirelli drivers. The fastest lap for the AM drivers comes from Brad Falver. No surprises there. But the Pirelli driver says Dylan Medler and Manny Franco side by side now. Whoa, Dylan Medler then, very, very brave here. Bear in mind, he is Trofeo Pirelli champion there. Wheel rubbing together here, and Manny Franco did not give a centimetre, and why should he? He's got track position, it's his entitlement. Dylan has got to fight hard to find a way by. Now, of course, for Dylan, he can't get on terms with Perina. Why? Because he's got Manny Franco's car ahead of him. He's got to get by that before he can even think about getting after Massimo Perina. That was a bold effort. It didn't quite pay off, Andrew.
No, Franco did brilliantly to get past on that first lap, and you can see now that, as you say, Medler's got to pass him. Medler making him drive on his mirrors. What we mean by that is even though he wasn't going to have a look there, he's moved out of the slipstream and put his car in the mirrors. That makes Franco look in the mirror. You want him to miss the braking point, miss the apex, and come back to him. The gap was 1.1, it's 2.9, and that's the problem. These two are fighting each other, and that's going to hand it to Perina a big, comfortable lead.
Absolutely. The one that could benefit from this, the more these two fight, is Ethan McWilliams, who might be able to get on terms with them. So 1:31.975, the fastest lap from our Pirelli driver, that's Massimo Perina. 1:34.099 for Eric Pan. No, Sebastian Mascaro now sets the fastest lap in Pirelli AM drivers. He's currently running P3. So you'll see that on the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen in a moment. So yes, Sebastian Mascaro then, the quickest of the Pirelli AM drivers, but he's running P3 at the moment. To give you the top 5 in each, it's Massimo Perina from Manny Franco, Dylan Medler, Ethan McWilliams, and then it's Johnny Kaminsky. For the AM drivers, Brad Falver, Eric Pan, Sebastian Mascaro, Ofer Levy, and Michael Mathis.
Here's that big braking zone again up at turn 7. Brad Falver runs a little bit wide. They're allowed to use over the white line, so they're not enforcing track limits down there. We're coming under a bit of pressure.
Well, you see, the thing is here, that Tony Davis is in a different category, and therefore Brad Falver wants the comfort cushion of having Tony Davis between himself and Eric Pan, and Eric Pan is really now beginning to turn up the wig in terms of chasing down Brad. So Brad would do well to try and find a way past Tony Davis, who's a very difficult driver to overtake because he's a very skilled racing driver. Here's Brad. He just took a look at the inside but realised that he wasn't going to be able to do it. So into this turn 11 then. Viewing it there from the Casa Ferrari. Great shot as the cars make their way now just over the start-finish line. As Perina extends his lead to 3.449 seconds from Manny Franco running in P2. Brad Falver, well, he'll be very, very happy of the fact that Sebastian Mascaro is now beginning to put the pressure on the Eric Pan car. So Eric Pan goes from attacking to defending. And there's a bit of a train of cars there. It's Mascaro, it's Levy, it's Michael Mathis as well. So every driver, to a degree, is having to do, as you say, and just keep their eye on that rear view screen.
Yeah, a bit of defending as well as attacking. It really does change the way you drive. There's a couple of hairpins here. We saw during qualifying people taking what I call a quali line, which is where turn 11 or somebody out in the dirt on the outside again. That's where we saw the spin earlier on for Falver. Yeah, you run the car a bit deeper on the way into the corner, run it a bit tighter on the exit, straighten up the exit and carry a bit more speed down the straight. Now, you cannot do that when there's somebody behind you. You run the car wide and they're just going to stick it straight up the inside. So you start getting slightly defensive on the way on the turn into the corners, and then you start losing time. So, yeah, tricky in a big train like this. And, of course, everybody wants to get on with it. Occasionally, you'll get two drivers work together and you can almost sense they're like, right, let's not pass each other. Let's get stuck into this guy in front. We'll get past. Then they'll get stuck into each other. But at the minute, no one's managing to get through.
The only driver into the 131s is our race leader, and that is Massimo Perina. Now, Johnny Kaminsky has got past Ethan McWilliams. There's a change for P4. Johnny Kaminsky goes through on Ethan McWilliams. So it's Ferrari of Long Island ahead of Boardwalk Ferrari P4 and P5 right now. Sebastian Mascaro, fastest lap, as I mentioned then, for Pirelli AM drivers. So the two classes together. The Pirelli drivers, I remind you, with the red strip across the top of the windscreen, like Tony Davis, you can see here. Oh, and somebody else going off. Is that Roberto Perina?
Contact as well.
I think that might be Roberto Perina in strife. It's certainly a Pirelli driver, and I think that livery is that of Roberto Perina, who was running in P8. And there you can see Jason McCarthy in the number 11 car. Did they have a coming together? Well, we will see. And number 55, it's not very often I spot things that are correct, but it is Roberto Perina. What a shame. Let's take a look at a replay then of what happened there. Was it with Jason McCarthy, or have I called that wrong? Let's see. Jason, I think, just taking a look at the inside, and Roberto completely unaware of the fact that Jason, like a train, was coming down that hill and dived to the inside.
He's come from a long way back there. I think if we'd need to see the move from slightly earlier to be able to judge how far back he came from, but as you say, he hasn't seen him coming. Unfortunately, that means he's taken his standard line, shut the door, and contact between them.
Staying with the Perina family, Massimo, no such strife for him, as he just puts another few tenths onto his board of comfort cushion. 4.281 seconds.
He's stretching it by a few tenths. If you look in the background, Dave, you can see why Franco and Medler are still getting stuck into each other. Bit of dust on the braking zone. You see there, just a slight correction. Means he doesn't quite get to the apex, so he is pushing. Perina is definitely pushing out front. Here's the fight again at the front of the AM category. It's that fight for P2, though, that I think he's allowing Perina to check out like he is at the front.
Oh, there's no question about it, because when you're fighting, you're always slower, aren't you? And Franco and Medler are involved in a real ding-dong between themselves, aren't they? So you're quite right there. Brad Falver has been really impressive here, because the pressure that he's suffered with Pan, Mascaro and Levy and also Mathis behind, he's not yielded to that at all. And furthermore, Tony Davis is holding his own as well. He's running P10 as Trofeo Pirelli drivers.
Ooh, who's off there? People are running the car, aren't they? I said that's where we saw the spin. They're all running it out wide, but how much dirt's been dragged on by the moment earlier on in the race?
And that's going to impact the grip that's afforded to you at that point as well, isn't it?
And they're all really committed there. Look at the dust that's flown across. So that's blowing across from. They return back down the other side of the drag strip through the S's here, and that's the dust that's blowing across on the other side of the circuit.
Thanks for that. Yes, so there you can see this battle that's going on in Pirelli Am. Brad Falva leading from Eric Pan, and then it is Sebastian Mascaro and Ofer Levy. So into the hairpin they go, with Tony Davis leading that pack of cars, but Tony Davis is in the Pirelli class. Martin Burrows has ticked another one off the list as he moves up to P7 then, having got past Dave Musial 2.0. And this is our race leader. No, it's not. Or is it actually catching up with a backmarking car? Potentially. No, I don't think it is. So, Brad Falva then continuing, despite the pressure, to lead in terms of the Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers. There we can see the number 32 car then of Ethan McWilliams. Ethan McWilliams, a Pirelli driver. Ethan has made his way into the Ferrari Challenge coming through Club Challenge, and a very welcome addition to the grid he is also. The number 47 car is Luke French, another young whippersnapper driver.
Spin.
Who is that off? That
car one.
Oh, that's Dylan Medler. I beg your pardon, it is Frank Cesniak because it's an AM driver. Beg your pardon. Yes, that is Frank Cesniak, but he's got it going again.
Which is good for us, because that will mean no red flags. But there's some damage on the back of that.
Yeah, you can see it. It's grabbing a bit at the back.
Yeah, rear left wheel, look, he's completely out of alignment. So he's... and that might be the... No, it's not. That's from earlier on. That's from earlier on. Yeah. But that rear left, look, he's very badly out of alignment, so I wonder what he's tapped. So I must admit, on the exit of this, I was really impressed earlier on, Dave, with how much of the road these drivers are using. Obviously, we know they're our quickest drivers, but they were running all the way out to the wall with no space left to spare. And I'm thinking, OK, have you tapped that wall and maybe broken something there? Because there aren't so many places around the circuit where the wall is that close.
Yeah, that might be so.
You never know.
Even just dislodge something.
Exactly. Though you damage it, and then you get to a big braking point, and then you break it. But as I say, could have been contact in traffic. We haven't seen it.
No. So, Brad Falva, Eric Pan, Sebastian Mascaro, the top three then, and well, as you can see, we've lost Frank Cesniak as well, driving the number one car in Trofeo Pirelli. What do we got? 13 minutes of the race remaining. Where's the race gone?
I was just looking, you were mentioning about lapped cars, Dave, and I wanted to have a check on that. Cesniak is well off, obviously, thanks to, he'll disappear in a moment from the timing screen as show has stopped, but the driver who was the furthest back was Gray Forver after the spin on the exit of Carousel, who was 45 seconds off the leader of his class. Not enough, because the lap time is 1:31. So there's still roughly, because I thought the same as you know, have they come across someone who's had an issue, but the timing screen says not so much. And that's why these guys love racing in this category. When they move up from the shell category, the pace is frantic between them. So they're properly racing against the cars with them. Has he got a problem as well? He's on a go slow. He's offline. That's
Michael Porter, who's had a issue of some description.
Yeah.
I think the back end of the car is not looking...
front right corner at the splitter's hanging off.
Yes, you're right.
So I don't know if he's tapped something there. Well, all the tyres are on and facing the right way.
There is part of Michael Porter's car.
Yeah.
Now that, to me, looked like a rear-view mirror.
It is. It's a right-hand mirror.
So is that contact with
Has
another
to be.
car?
There's nothing else that you can hit at that height on the car. The mirrors only come off when you tap other mirrors. And
that's a car stopped. That's a car stopped. Oh, no, it's got going again. So that is the number 77 car that you
Harry
can see.
Chung.
That's Harry Chung, new into the Ferrari Challenge for this season.
What we need to see is his left mirror missing, because if his left mirror's missing...
Mystery solved.
And he did blast past there. You know, sometimes you see a bit of body language in cars. He may just be wanting to get the car off. On the other hand, it may be like, look, you know what, I'm going to blast past you here, because... we've had it coming together, but we didn't see whether if there's a yellow mirror out there on track, let us know, and that might give us a clue as to who was at the scene.
whilst all that's been going on, and we've been talking about various things that we're trying to pick the bones out of. Brad Falva continuing to lead in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Massimo Perina continuing to lead in Pirelli, dare I say it, with a gap of 6.697 seconds. That's an incredible margin. Neither Manny Franco or Dylan Medler have been able to match the pace of Massimo Perina once he was able to just get his head down and concentrate on nailing every apex.
Medler's going to be kicking himself. He's got 10 minutes to try and get back past Franco, but he will be frustrated as the champion, that the pace man, yes, that he wasn't able to go away with Perina. Perina's leads up to 7.6. Medler's only 0.4 behind Franco, so it is super close. They've been locked together through the whole race, but at the minute, no way through, it seems.
And this...
here they are.
Yeah, there is Manny Franco.
The attitude of the car, Dave, when it came over the crest, you could just see it's being leaned on. Here we go, look, they're all the way out to the curb, over the dust, every inch of the track. 0.4 of a second between them at the end of the last lap. Through that, see the way the rear moves on the way in there. He's pitching the car in and trusting that it won't over-rotate, but he wants the rear just to be that bit looser and then get on the throttle earlier. This is what we were talking about yesterday with driver coaches, saying some drivers like the car really pointy. Look at the change of direction. You can see the splitter coming down closer to the road again, leaning on it through here.
At this point, Andrew, will, with the first 2/3 of the race done, will they be finding that the car is reacting differently now because tyres are beginning to degrade a little bit?
We were expecting in the region of 15 laps was what some of the coaches reckoned before you would get to the point where they were really, through the tyres. Okay. Obviously, Pirelli doing a brilliant job of providing a tyre that can do the whole race distance, but any tyre given to a professional driver told to go as fast as they can on every lap, that's what you wear out. It's the thing that's in contact with the road. So 0.4 of a second quicker that time round.
Yes, absolutely. So Dylan perhaps is now beginning to think, right, I'm going to chase this.
Yeah, well, he said the gap went up to a second, so I did hear a little bit of tyre squeal in the back there. Look at the rear, and that would suggest, Dave, maybe, where I'm saying maybe he wants the rotation, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just reached the point where actually the tyres have got a little bit tired and the balance has gone away from him. We can only guess from here, and hopefully we'll find out after the race.
And that could have come on earlier than we expected because he's been pushing so hard. He's been taking a lot out of the car and the tyres, hasn't he? Because he's been chasing down Manny.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So maybe not able to choose lines, or maybe compromising his entries to try and get up the inside. It's hard to know always. Look at the smooth inputs from Franco and Medler behind, really hustling that car.
Pirelli Am, I've been really impressed here with Brad Falva. I know it's difficult to overtake here at Sonoma, but Brad Falva and Eric Pan, they've been in that P1 and P2 position, haven't they? And they've not; those positions haven't changed. They're clean, tidy, and you can just see that those three cars. Well, there's four there, but Tony Davis is in a different category as Brad Falva gets right on the back of Tony Davis now. But Brad has not looked under increasing pressure from Eric Pan as around has gone the number 17 car of Dan Magnuszewski, I think. Now, he gets it pointing in the right direction. Kicks up a bit of dust as... out is the number 14 machine. That's bad news for Gregory Hopkins, but he's able to get it going again. Now, Gregory Hopkins was running down there in P21 overall, but P11 for the Foreign Cars Italia driver, who, of course, is part of the Roy Carroll contingent. And
wow.
Great avoidance.
Yeah, they were side by side themselves coming in. That's
goodness.
Fourth gear into the carousel coming down the hill there. It is fourth gear and well committed because you're looking to get back on the throttle early for that straight that follows. So brilliant job by the following drivers. You didn't actually see what happened to the car that had spanned, just everybody else going, whoa, hang on a minute, and having to chuck the car left or right to get round it. They were side by side too.
Ooh, that was a
moment.
A moment and a half, really, wasn't it?
So
now,
Hopkins is inside, look. He's got out of the brake. So Hopkins has looked to the inside of Veslovas, I think it was. He's gone to the inside. He's then come off the brake because he thinks he's going to hit him, and coming off the brake has meant he's carrying too much speed. He's gone across the grass. So actually, little mistake himself. Fine. He's then put it on the grass to avoid everybody else.
Yeah.
Good lad.
Yeah,
good lad.
That's good racing. A fair levy is looking lively now on Sebastian Mascaro. So just pick that up here. is the number 29 car of Sebastian Mascaro, and Ofer Levy is closer than he's been to Sebastian Mascaro. Now it's for the final podium place in Pirelli Am, if you like, because Levy is currently P4, Mascaro is P3. And yeah, that's beginning to liven up now. We've got 5:58 in terms of the time, 5 minutes 58 seconds of this race remaining. So we're getting to the sharp end now. And what can any of these drivers do? It really has reinforced the point that you've got to be really brave here at Sonoma to try and muscle your way past in an overtake. And by and large, every driver has kept it together really rather well. The outstanding drive, arguably, well, not arguably, Massimo Perina, who's now so far up the road, he's calling in at Casa Ferrari for a cappuccino, I think.
Burrows up 6 places.
Told
so
you.
we haven't seen so much of Martin Burrows, but he's come back from having had that issue in quali, put a lap in that was good enough to see him on, I think it was the 7th row in the end, as the lower of the Trofeo Pirelli drivers, and he's made it up 6 places. Mascaro's gone up 4. I think Brad Favre has gone up 4 places too. We just saw on the ladder graphic on the left-hand side. So Burrows has done really well to recover to that point. And I think the other, Franco's move on Medler at the start was also really noteworthy. It's been some great racing.
I did say Martin is always one to watch, and sometimes I do feel that drivers perform better when they've got
fire
to make
lit
it up.
underneath you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a phrase over here which I love, which is getting after it. He's really getting after it. Yeah, and it's I love that. So yeah, he's got after it. He's got after it. Gone up 6 places. I genuinely think he'd be pleased with that. I really do. You know, you're looking for a recovery. It's hard to overtake here at Sonoma. To make up 6 places, yeah, he's fantastic.
See how close Ofer Levy is to Sebastian Mascaro now. Ofer is the one that is fancying this. He wants that podium place. So there is Mascaro, right behind him in the
beige coloured car. Yeah.
Is look.
He almost turned out the corner, didn't he? Because he was worried he was going to collect the rear end of Mascaro in front. So Ofer Levy, is there somewhere that he can just put a move on? 3:47 to go, so we should see another 2 laps. Remember, they'll cross the line when the counter goes. Ofer Levy now might get a better exit here, moves to the right, but can't get it done.
Couldn't capitalise on that, could he?
No.
And that, in fairness, was a small mistake from Mascaro, wasn't it?
It's hard to tell, isn't it, when they're in a train like this? Was Mascaro avoiding the car in front? Levy again will have a look on the exit here. Got to go right-hand side. Go on, go for it. Go on, have a look. Nah, they're all playing sensible, aren't they, at this time in the race? They want to hang on to those championship points. It's early days, but when you're 37 minutes into a race, you might... up over the... He hasn't given up, has he?
There's no way you're wrong.
He hasn't given up.
He wants a podium out of this at the very least. What's stopping him getting that is Sebastian Mascaro. And Ofer Levy then is throwing everything at this at the moment in the quest of trying to get P3. There was Eric Pan that we were looking at. This is the battle that's going on in Pirelli Am. Tony Davis, the Pirelli driver who's leading this bunch of cars, but he's out of class. And Brad Favre, who's held on to this P1 position for a number of laps now. The big battle is going on for P3 in this class. And we cross the timing line with 2.5, as near as makes no difference, minutes left.
Another 2, yeah.
This is going to liven up before we get to the end.
That's my favourite camera, by the way, I have to say. We call that a flip-flop, and it's not a cheap pair of shoes that you wear around the pool in the summer. It's a camera that goes both ways, and you often see them in series like NASCAR, and just the audio you get off them when you got a twin-turbo V6 coming past in the back of a Ferrari 296. Yes, please, is all I can say to that. Whoa, it's brilliant, isn't it? Brings you very close to the action.
Yes, it's the one thing they do really well here in North America, and I've extolled the virtues of that flip-flop camera. Now I know what it's called.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I love that name.
Ferrari Challenge.
I'm sure there's
Europe.
a technical name for it.
Thing is, here in North America, you've often got walls that allow you to do that, whereas in some of the European circuits, you don't have that.
Runoff areas are massive, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's more walls close to tracks. We like it. It's a good place to put our cameras.
Wow. Closing stages of this race, 1.5 minutes remaining. And despite everything that Ofer has tried to do in terms of trying to provoke a mistake from Sebastian Mascaro, the mistake has not come. So he remains steadfast in that P4 position when he really, really wants to be P3. As I mentioned earlier, Massimo Perina is effectively checked out. He's so far up the road. And Brad has been really trying to get past Tony Davis. It matters not. Whoa! Having to take avoiding action there was Sebastian Mascaro, which has opened up the door a little bit to Ofer Levy, but he wasn't able to capitalise on that. And that was as they were braking. They're all having to take avoiding action there as Brad was trying to get past Tony Davis.
I want to see the front of Ophir Levy's car because I reckon that's going to have a scratch on it. That was as close as it gets in the hairpin up at turn 11. Ophir Levy with a moment. He's made a mistake now and may well lose a place just round a little bit wide, and he does.
Michael Mathis is able to take advantage of that, and Michael Mathis moves up a place. I really feel for Ophir.
So do I.
Who's really worked hard, hasn't he? I wonder if he might lose out to Ray Acosta as well, who's coming calling. Ray Acosta currently running in P6 in class, but if he sees the opportunity to take P5, Ray Acosta will certainly seize that. But Michael Mathis didn't need an invitation to that party twice, and he took that. Ophir Levy will try and come back, but oh, what a shame, because he'd done so well in trying to get past. For Sebastian Mascaro, he'll be rubbing his hands with invisible soap because as far as he's concerned, the danger has gone away now.
So there is Perina, whose lead last time round was 8.4 seconds. What is it as we see Franco come over? It's 10.2.
Oh my goodness.
He's gone up even more, but Medler now, look, he's down to 0.4. Medler was 1.6 off the back of Franco. This is the last dance. It's the last chance saloon for Medler to try and find a way back through.
Let's see if he can do it. Manny Franco's not an easy driver to overtake, that's for sure, but Dylan Medler will throw everything at this. Massimo Perina, as you've said, is far enough up the road that he's not going to be bothered by these two, that's for sure, and he hasn't been bothered all race long. That I am just noticing, oh my goodness me, and I've not picked up on that because so much going on. Massimo Perina's got a 15-second time penalty, so what's the gap? It's 10.2. This means Manny Franco's going to be effectively the race winner.
And it means they're racing for the win, and their driver coaches will know that, so they will have told them this is for the win.
I've only just noticed that. Massimo Perina, then with a 15-second time penalty, he's got to be at least 15 seconds up the road to be able to take the win. He's never going to be able to do that with what's left on the lap. Therefore, the win will be with Manny Franco unless Dylan Medler can find a way by.
So jump start is what we're hearing from race control for Perina. So all that time ago, jump start for Perina means that he needed a gap of 15. I wonder if that decision's come late, and that's why he suddenly got a wiggle on to try and get the gap up above.
Well, the checkered flag falls and Massimo Perina crosses the line, P1, but a 15-second time penalty means the win is going to be inherited by Manny Franco as he heads towards the line ahead of Dylan Medler. And
wow,
Johnny Kaminsky then on his debut in the Ferrari Challenge will take a P3 because Massimo Perina will be dropped out to P4.
And he just did his best lap of the race. No, it was Perina who did his best lap of the race on the last lap I was looking at to see it, but it wasn't quite enough, as you say, to hold off Kaminsky.
It's Pirelli Am, though, and Brad Falver, who has held on to this. He heads towards the checkered flag ahead of Eric Pan. Tony Davis is the first of the cars you see here, but there is Brad Falver, who takes the win for Pirelli Am ahead of Eric Pan, and Sebastian Mascaro takes P3. Then it's Michael Mathis and Ophir Levy and Ray Acosta.
Shout out to Ophir Levy for some great racing in that race. You're just trying to couldn't find the back of that train. Looked like he had the pace and was desperate to find a way through. But yeah, great stuff. What a start to the year.
I apologise because it's as clear can be on the graphics on the left-hand side.
Nothing
of the
on the timing screen though normally, and we get notified on the timing screen of what the penalty is at the bottom here. You guys can't see that at home, obviously, but there it is. Jump start.
Well,
so what is it, a different start procedure, Dave? Obviously, I'm new to Ferrari Challenge North America. What's the difference in the start procedure for 488 Evo last year compared to 296 this year? Or has he just got a little bit too eager?
No, I think perhaps that is the case. You've got to stay through. You've effectively got to stay in your grid box and be side by side. And you know, they have data available to them. I mean, they race control, and you know, whilst we've all had arguments with those in authority on occasions for whatever thing it is.
Oh, it's the hardest job of the circuit. I've always said there is nothing worse than being a race director and having to make those calls on drivers who are trying as hard as they can. It's yeah, it's rough. They have to interpret the rules the way they can. That'll be disappointing for Perina, you know, having taken that pole on his debut in the 296 category, the 296 challenge. It's yeah. and then led from lights to flag. But there we go.
Why, oh why? Well, that will be the question. However, for Manny Franco, on his return to the Ferrari Challenge, it's a P1, and Dylan Medler having to settle for P2, but Massimo Perina not even on the podium. That's going to be tough.
The harsh thing is, Dave, if he'd had another 3.6 seconds, so it was 3.2 forward to Kaminsky and a further 0.4 forward to Medler. If he'd had another 3.6 seconds, he'd have edged it out enough to get the 15 seconds ahead, and then he might have been job done.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Meantime, the drivers parking up then in their cars, and well, Manny Franco is going to be pretty happy about that. I mean, for me, Manny Franco was decisive right at the start. He wasn't prepared to give away a millimetre, and that's what he needed to do.
It was a brilliant pass. We said, didn't we, that it would be crucial in the run-up to turn 2. You got the double left-hander from the pits leading up the hill, which is very quick and into the right, and I thought he did a brilliant job to hang on.
Yes, I think you're right. So the seats being
that's Brad Falver, isn't it?
Yeah. He did
look how pleased he is.
Yeah, but I mean the pressure.
Look, brilliant. Yeah.
The pressure he was under for the entire race.
Wonderful to see.
Didn't yield to
it. Yeah, man, you did it. Well done. Brilliant. There's nothing better than seeing people achieving what they've set out to do, is it? You know, he set out to win the category, hoping for a good result on day 1 of the year, and brilliant.
Manny Franco then victorious for Ferrari Lake Forest, and right now he is with Nina Jade Paul.
I'm with the lovely Manny Franco. Manny, was this the result you expected coming into this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone as a driver expects it to be, you know, the best weekend they've ever had, and finish first, of course. Yeah, we finished first, and it's a bit disappointing because, you know, the opposition had a penalty, but a win's a win, and, you know, that's some part that I had to learn myself, and it's something that, you know, everyone who goes through challenge has to learn as well, that just not get penalties because it can cost you the win, so. Yeah.
Exactly. What's your mindset going into the next race at Daytona?
My next race here?
At Daytona.
At Daytona? Oh, I won't be in Daytona, actually.
Oh, you won't be in Daytona? Okay, so how do you plan on celebrating this win then?
You know, just as I've always done, like just peacefully, quietly, and, you know, drink a little bit, but not too much after the second race, so yeah.
Well, a win's a win. Well done, my friend.
Well done, Manny Franco, and well done, Nina Jade, for catching up so quickly. I'm sure it ain't going to be many minutes before we hear from Brad Falver. Here comes the classification in full. Manny Franco taking the win from Dylan Medler, then Johnny Kaminsky. Massimo Perina, by dint of that 15-second time penalty, gets relegated to P4 ahead of Ethan McWilliams. Luke French, then Martin Burrows. Good drive, Martin. Dave Musial 2.0, then Jason McCarthy and Tony Davis. They occupy the top 10 positions. Best of the AM drivers, Brad Falver ahead of Eric Pan, Sebastian Mascaro. Then it was Michael Mathis and Ofer Levy, who tried so very hard. Ray Acosta, Dave Musial and Eric Marston. And, of course, Gray Falver had an off earlier on in the race. And then it's Gerda Svetslovas, Robert McWilliams, Jay Logan, Gregory Hopkins, Dan Magnusewski a lap down. And also befalling the likes of Harry Chung, Brian Cook, we lost, and John Horsch and Michael Porter as well. So they're the classifications, with Frank Szczesniak and Roberto Perina also falling victim to things that went on during the course of what was quite an entertaining Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM race. We're not many minutes away from the Shell and the Shell AM drivers to take to the track as well. So it's all action with the Ferrari Challenge here as the opening round at the Sonoma Raceway. So well done, Andrew. Your first one, mate.
It's a fair bit going on there, to be honest. The Perinas, they're going to be after it tomorrow. You know, two issues for both of them, and I'm expecting. Remember, we do this all again tomorrow, and we had a fire lit under Burrows today. I'm expecting to see Revenge Central for both the Perinas who want to get after it, won't they? As we've said.
Yeah, and you know, as we said earlier on, whilst talking about Martin Burrows, you know, sometimes when the things haven't fallen your way, that makes you even more determined, doesn't it? That you're going to right the wrongs, or what you feel are the wrongs of the day before. Brad Falver then, well, he did nothing wrong at all because he took victory in Pirelli AM, and he's with Nina Jade Paul.
Brad Falver, congratulations, my friend. What a solid race from you. How important was your race start in securing this victory today?
The race start is when you're in the second class, you know, you never know what's going to happen. It's a box of chocolates, and I didn't get the one with the cherry in the middle. I had a little lane on the left, and I picked up a couple of spots, so Helt was able to hold it from there. So great car. My engineer and my pit guy, Valerio, phenomenal job. So just couldn't be happier. Ferrari, San Francisco, R3. What a team. Really happy to be on this team.
Who would you dedicate this win to, Brad?
I got to dedicate it to my wife, Lonnie, of course. Yeah.
Lovely. And congratulations again, Brad.
All right. Cheers.
I had a great conversation with Brad Falver at a dinner last season, and he and Gray are truly lovely people, and Brad has lost none of his racing prowess, as we see there.
We saw them at lunchtime today, didn't we? And they were off to hot-foot it and get in the cars.
Here come the points then in the Pirelli Drivers' Championship. Those were wrong, I can tell you. So they've been quickly disappeared to the right-hand side of the screen. First day, you know, we got a lot of poor Andrew alongside me. He's pressing so many buttons.
I'm learning. I'm whirling at the timing screen. I really am. Tony Volander's he's going to have to be a whiz on this timing screen when he comes back, Dave.
Yes, and I know Tony. He might not be watching in live.
No, I think he's karting this weekend, isn't he? Didn't you say?
He might be. He may well be. He's having a bit of a weekend away, sadly, so he's not here. But yes, the dulcet tones of our Finnish friend Tony Volander will be back. There's Casa Ferrari from myself and from Andrew Cowley, and also from Nina Jade Paul down in the pit lane, as we see Brad Falver being congratulated there, with Dominic offering his congratulations as well. There's Gray Falver as well in the mix. Thank you so much for watching. Stand by. We've got a Shell and Shell Am race to come very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.